What's up, Chicago Bears fans everywhere? I am RP. That's the Dr. Matismo. Wow, that was a loud cheer for that guy. Way louder than
That
mine.
was for you, man.
Oh, that was for me. I thought it was like, and then Matismo.
Right.
But yes, counterpart. We are the Bears Essentials. Super happy to be here. We have a special playoff edition of our show for all of you guys who like the Bears Essentials. We're coming to you from Greenlight Studios, and because of a miraculous performance by the LA Rams and your boy and mine, John Wolford, the Chicago Bears make the playoffs. So we're super excited. Not everyone gets a playoff shot. No, we did not look good last weekend.
Right.
Yes, we are playing a very tough team in the Saints, but we can get it done. That's why you play the game, and we'll talk about how we can do it.
All right.
Today,
Yeah.
at Bears Essentials. Okay, so if you guys like the Bears Essentials, subscribe, please. Like our page, like the comment as well, because today we're also going to be taking questions from the comments during the show. So if you're watching right now or in the next couple of minutes, we'll bring this back up. You guys can send us a couple of questions, and the doctor will answer. Okay, so. The Bears lose 35-16 to the Green Bay Packers, our arch division rivals, if you can even call it that anymore, because it's really not even that a rivalry if it's that one-sided, in my opinion. But the Bears are left at 8-8, a pretty average season, and for most of the game they were close, really within 5 points for 4 1/4 quarters, but in the end could not find the end zone or in the red zone, and had that costly 4th and 1 possession that they passed the ball and turned the ball over to the Packers, who turned it into points and then some. So as we were talking earlier, Doctor, Mitch had, an underwhelming game. It wasn't the worst game. He did have a bad interception, and Komet also had a fumble, which kind of was the back-breaking part of the the offense that we hadn't seen the last 2 weeks, which had been really great. So in 4th and short, we seem to keep coming up short. How do we get better against better defenses? Like the Packers have a good defense. How do we get better against a Saints defense? We're going to break that down in the next Bear Schematics.
Doc Monkey Smoke coming to show all the people in the homes, the X's and O's. Bear Schematics. Doc Monkey Smoke coming to show all the people in the homes, the X's and O's. Bear Schematics. Doc Monkey Smoke coming to show all the people in the homes, the X's and O's. Bear Schematics. Doc Monkey Smoke coming to show all the people in the homes, the X's and O's. Bear Schematics. Doc Monkey Smoke coming to show all the people in the homes, the X's and O's. Bear Schematics. Doc Monkey Smoke coming to show all the people in the homes.
So, when it comes to Bears productivity on crucial downs, what we saw throughout the course of this game was essentially the rearing of Nagy's head. We saw the shotgun formation. We saw the single back running back, and we saw a lot of run plays out of that shotgun formation. Now, the thing is that, I guess, suppose I suppose schematically, this is supposed to keep the defense off guard. It's supposed to spread them out, and it's supposed to create running lanes for our backs. However, when we go into that formation, because we are not a really great passing team, I don't think that it provides that same threat level downfield, and it does have the potential to compress the inside running lanes. Now, going into the future, what I think is a bit more balanced attack. Again, when we see Mitchell Trubisky under center with the running back in an I formation, single back, or with the fullback, we see the potential for the run, and we see the potential for the play action. And I think the combination of those two really provides the team with a balanced formation, a balanced attack that keeps the defense off balance. I don't think that we are a high scoring team. Obviously, we're not a super explosive offense with our formations. And so we need to rely on our balance, RP, and not the concept of a downfield passing game in order to be effective in these short yardage and to be effective in these goal line scenarios, because we're seeing this a lot in the red zone, which is this spread, formation, and we're relying so much on our quarterback to make decisions, drive the ball, make reads, and I think it's definitely something that is hurting the pace at which we play, and it's hurting our productivity.
Now, for those people who understand cutting the field in half when you're rolling out one direction or the other, making it easier for the quarterback to read the field because you're cutting the field in half, how does that end up kind of biting you in the rear end when it comes to not being able to then look at the whole field and create as a quarterback from that shotgun position when you're looking at the whole field and probably having to read the defense more?
Well, it's a good question. And I think that you're right. When you do start to move the pocket, and you do start to, if you force the quarterback to turn away from the defense in order to, let's say, fake a handoff to a running back, it takes their eyes off of the defense, right? And
Sure.
it's the same thing with moving the pocket. You're shortening the field to a certain extent. But the thing is that in that case, and I guess this goes back to last week when we were talking about simplifying an offense or simplifying a passing, it does have the potential for reducing the number of potential options available to you, which can hurt your passing game, obviously, but it can also reduce the number of reads that a quarterback has to make. And I think when you're in a situation where your quarterback is not necessarily the Peyton Manning of reading defenses,
Sure.
to a certain extent, maybe, reducing the number of reads, decreasing the number of passing options, but also increasing the run as an option for your mobile quarterback is
Right.
something that could potentially lead to productivity on and give you more options, especially in short yardage and in the red zone.
It was
We're
curious.
seeing those stalls,
Right.
right?
Yes, you were curious. They did start, on a couple of those fourth and shorts, the quarterback sneak finally.
Right.
That was great. But then, on that fourth and one where we did try to pass to Robinson, I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
He, as a quarterback, has to know as well that he has that option to run, and I
Mhm.
don't think it entered his mind once.
Which is terrible, because
Which is,
especially
I
in
don't know
that
if that's
play.
coached. I don't know if that's just him being, thinking he can make the pass, him thinking it was third down. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But either
Yeah.
way, people are going to question the call. If it works, it's genius. If it doesn't, you look pretty bad. But
Mhm.
I want to say congratulations to the man, the myth, the legend, Cairo Santos, for his record-breaking field goal for consecutive field goals in a
Yeah.
season with
Yeah.
25. So that
Ooh.
guy is kicking the crap out of the ball and making field goals. So that's he's a blessing to this team. I feel like if the defense played up to his level, maybe we'd be a little bit tougher or tougher to beat. Now let's get to that defense, man, because before I'm gonna go there, I want to talk about one of the
No.
best players in that game. Now, we didn't have anyone offensively who stood out more than Darnell Mooney, especially on that long bomb pass. And the as many touches as he got. It was his career game, so he probably and he seemed to be also fighting through injury at the same time. So he's a tough guy for
Yeah,
the size that
definitely.
he plays at. So we decided to give him the CBPOG for playoff week. What do you
Well
think, man?
deserved.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, man. So that guy's been playing, and he looked like it would be great if he could continue being a Bear. That would be fun to watch if he can stay healthy, and hopefully he can even play Sunday. We're not sure what his status is right now um, with his injury, so waiting on that. Again, I want to go loop now back to the defense and talk about how disappointed I was just with the performance again in another week where the defense just let up a lot of points. Um, there were injuries. Obviously, Roquan Smith was hurt. Uh, Jalen Johnson was still not playing and still might not play Sunday. But to me, they don't even seem close to the same defense we had at the beginning of the year. So obviously Aaron Rodgers had an amazing first half. I think he was perfect. Did he
He,
had one incompletion
yeah,
going
I
in?
mean, he was pretty close to perfect. I mean, especially from a quarterback rating perspective. But yeah, he didn't have very many incompletions.
So
The
four
guy was hot.
touchdowns and he was hot. And I guess my question to you, Doctor, would be one, is he that good? Obviously he is, but is it also did Pagano get out coached here again today? Then
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yes. I would say yes, definitely. And yeah, I think when you're Pagano and you're going against the Green Bay Packers, you're going against their offensive coordinator, and then you're going against Aaron Rodgers, on the field, the guy who can really execute these plays at a very high level. But you saw a team, when the Bears blitzed, when they left that middle of the field open, and they were going deep, and you can see how they were utilizing matchups. They were really getting their formation spread. They were isolating inside receivers against linebackers,
Linebackers, yeah.
and running these deep routes. And so you really got the feeling that, hey, if we blitz, he's going deep. If we don't blitz, I think that's obviously the issue for the Bears right now, is that when they're sending their four guys, their pass rush is inconsistent at best. While they do have some good pass rushers, I think Robert Quinn had some pressures, but we're not seeing that the same level of it's like desire. It's like ferociousness. I want to see like some arms like chopping. I want to see some bodies flying around there, and I'm really seeing guys who are pass rushing with technique. Like, come
Sure,
on, man,
sure.
get in, beat your guy.
Yeah,
He's
and I
not a
think that's
freaking
what
dummy.
that's what the lack of what we're seeing right now is a pass rush from the front four,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's a lot of time for the best, if not one of the best quarterback in the league to really march downfield on you and score when at will.
It's too
Uh,
much. Yeah.
it's
Too
too much.
too much time for him. It's too much time for any quarterback, and it's just a matter of how bad is that quarterback going to hurt you. And Aaron Rodgers can hurt you as bad as any quarterback. And actually, if you think about that deep pass to Lazard, that was another one that they could have had that they just dropped. And it's just another example of how vulnerable we were during this game.
And that's the hard part to stomach about the game, I think, is just knowing that you got beat soundly, and both sides of the ball showed definite limitations going into the playoffs against a good NFC opponent. Um, and that's going to be the hard part, is going also going to New Orleans to play the Saints. Um, Now, going back to Pagano, kind of circling back to him and the defense, if you are him and people want to be critics, people want to say he should not return next year. Um, do you lose your job as if the Bears lose this game? Has he already lost his job? Do you think how much of this is he at fault with, or is it maybe even the players, like you said, a conviction of the players? How much are we getting from each side here?
Okay. Wow. So
I mean, I guess I should ask you specifically if you think Pagano will be a Chicago Bear next year.
in my opinion, RP, I do not think he should be the coach for next year. All
The
right. And
defensive
it's
coordinator.
yes, yes. And it's not because of him specifically, because I feel like the way that the defense trailed off this year, I think was more of it was related more to the players and their sense of what was going on. Now, I suppose that is part of the coaching aspect, but I guess I just don't feel like that the failures of the defense is the reason why our team didn't have a successful year. Does that make sense? I mean, he's
Sure,
obviously
sure.
part of it, but it
Right.
wasn't because of Pagano. Now, there are things about Pagano that I don't think are good for the team, and maybe would hold us back if we did have that championship level caliber team, right? But I guess I'm looking at it more as a duration of time that the Bears have kind of had this plan in place, and I feel like we're kind of coming to the end of that. And I thought a lot about this. I think the lack of signing Trubisky to the 5th year is really what is dictating what can and could potentially happen to Pagano and other players and coaches on the team.
Okay, well then let's go there and let's talk about Nagy and Trubisky. Uh, from what I'm reading more and more, it sounds like they've committed to bringing Nagy back
Yeah.
next year.
Mhm.
Does Trubisky come back? Does he have to win a game in the playoffs? Does he? What do you think?
Right. So again, just to depersonalize this has nothing to do with Nagy like as a person, nothing to do with Trubisky as a person or
No,
Pace as a
man.
person.
This
Like
is
really.
this is a live
So
podcast.
yeah. So I'm trying to be not like you guys suck, it's not about them. Okay. It's really about the plan for the Bears. And the fact is that Ryan Pace, his plan was to draft a quarterback, build up his defense, and then be in contentions for a championship at the end of the 4th year, going into the 5th year of that rookie quarterback's contract. It's all about the contract, because look, you can't be an NFL team and be a winner if you have a less than stellar quarterback that is making over $100 million. Does that make sense? Once you divert
Yes.
all of your resources to your quarterback, unless it's Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, one of these like super duper elite quarterbacks, you've ruined your chance of being a good team. You're the equivalent of a mid-level NBA team. You're just going to be just tumbling in mediocrity, right? And so I just don't think that because of the Bears and what they did with Trubisky's contract, I don't think that they can pay him more. You know what I mean? The structure of their plan is not contingent on them paying a mid to low level quarterback 10 to 15 million. Like all that
What
stuff is
say he
not
ends up
part of the
winning
plan.
2 playoff games? Which brings up our next question from Baghead Man.
Hey there, RP, Dr. Mathismo. Thanks for having me on the show again. Now that the Bears have made it and stumbled into the playoffs, I feel like a playoff team, I don't have to wear this bag. I can reveal my true identity. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Manny from Mundaland. Good to see you guys. Yeah, my question is for Dr. Mathismo. Now, what would be more humiliating? Losing big to these New Orleans Saints or beating the Saints and playing the Packers again only to lose 3 times, 41-25?
Manny, that was a really specific score too. Can I tell you that? You had 41 points.
This almost sounds like a setup question.
Right. You set it up. I don't. A lot of people don't see the Bears winning this game. So just like a lot of people did not see the Bears winning last game. This is different, and that it is literally the playoffs now. It's but again, that was a disappointing part for me, is seeing that knowing that team had their season on the line, and they came out flat. And I don't want to take away from Green Bay and how good they are. They are unfortunately a very good football team. But I think we made mistakes at times that made them better than they seem. So anything could happen. What do you think, man?
So to answer his question, I mean, I guess for me, the way that we move forward and build as a franchise is to confront our nemesis. You know, like if you want to like mature as an adult, you have to be able to like confront your nightmares, like your fears and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
and I don't have nightmares with Aaron Rodgers, but I understand.
Face your fears.
Face your fears. And I understand that the Packers have definitely had our number in the last couple games. But look, if we're going to be that team, if we're going to be the team that I want, if the Bears are going to be the team that I want as a fan, they have to be able to play the Packers and beat them. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what everyone wants as a Bear fan, right?
That's right. So I want to beat the Saints to take on the Packers so we can beat the Packers. Right? That's what I want.
Get one more shot, right? That's all you ask for. What you really ask for.
I mean, at this point in time, to get beat by the Packers, it's not like an embarrassment. You know, we're kind of like, oh yeah, that's all you got this year, huh? You know,
that's right.
Spitting blood in our teeth.
Well, I want to give out the Bonehead Award because we're talking about the defense and those missed chances, and you know that those were the butt fumble by Komet. It was a real fumble. It wasn't the butt fumble. But then a turnover by Mitch, a 4th down stop, 2 dropped interceptions.
Yes, Bill Dorr and Eddie Jackson.
You control the game, they all know your name, but then you fall on your face, or you trip on your laces. You control the game, they all know your name, but then you run the wrong way, or you suck at the play. You control the game, they all know your name, but then you're dropping a fade, or stopping for shade. You control the game, they all know your name, but then you fall on your face, or you trip on your laces. You control the game,
bonehead player.
They all know your name.
It's a bonehead player of the game. Bonehead player.
Or you trip on your laces.
It's a bonehead player of the
game.
Bonehead player.
They all know your name.
It's a bonehead player of the game. It's a bonehead player.
Or you suck at the play.
All right, that I read it incorrectly, but you got the point. The 2 interceptions were backbreaking in that at that time in the game, I felt like Jackson's turnover could have completely changed momentum. There were a couple times where a couple plays did specifically that. What did you see, and like, how do you keep that from happening, or how do you make those plays in the end to turn that game around? You know,
I mean, I suppose you could say pay a player, $30 million to be one of the highest paid safeties in the league. Eddie Jackson is a guy that we rely on to make those plays. And, he's been one of my favorite players before he came into the league, primarily based on his punt returning ability in college. He was amazing. But when he comes in the league, I mean, his playmaking skills, he's got rare ability. But this year, I saw a player who's hasn't really showed the top level desire. Really is what it comes down to. I think that he's taking plays off. I don't know if he's more of a flashy player than that was a big opportunity for him to make the splash play. So it's tough to know what to say.
Yeah.
How do they do it? Because they should be making those plays, and those are definitely the plays that we expect from a guy like Eddie Jackson. It's a play a guy like Vildor could make, and then could elevate his status in the league, and your dependability on him going into
Yeah,
next year. So
it's such an important time too.
yeah,
It makes you wonder. And I don't want to take away from the players. I think the players, yeah, they're it's a difficult, very fast game, and you're talking
yes,
about
it is.
um, consistency during again a season that has been very difficult with COVID, not having fans there, having now getting into the colder season. This is everything is different for a lot of these players, and again, what concerns me the most is the lack of passion that you're seeing at important times of the season from the part of our team that is supposed to be our strongest. So um, I want to go back to the offense because I have a question here from Mick Voles from Oak Forest, and he asks, "What can the Bears do to prevent red zone interceptions by Mitch?" Um, we talked about that shotgun formation earlier.
I think, yeah, if you're going to run, if you're going to get into the end red zone, remember the field itself is shrunk, right? It's not as deep. And so the way that it impacts the number of, because you have 11 defenders on the field, it really decreases the amount of space that they have to cover throughout the course of the field, right? So basically what you want to do is, if you're going to spread them using like a shotgun formation and using multiple wide receivers, I think what the Bears showed in the past is that you can isolate one receiver on one side, a tight end like Jimmy Graham, for example. And this just makes that read so much easier between the quarterback and the receiver, right? Running the fades and the back shoulders, etc. You start lining up two receivers and having them run combinations, etc. It obviously can cause confusion for a guy like Mitchell Trubisky, and he has the potential to throw interceptions. We saw him do that two weeks in a row, I believe. And so then also, get your quarterback under center and make it seem like you're going to run the ball, and then have the option of running it, play actioning, moving the quarterback, and getting the quarterback on the run to be a mobile threat going for the end zone.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the key, especially with Mitch, is again to coach him out of really trying to sit too long and being a pocket passer. It's okay to split the field in half with him as long as he's able to commit to the run. Sometimes to me, I feel like he's injured or something, and they're not saying anything, and they're telling him to to limit the amount of runs in a game. You never know that either. But he needs to start, especially like we talked about on a 4th and 1 there, that the only option is to run. That would be the time where you got to put your head down, homie, and dive for the first down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Because his pass attempt was terrible as it was. He was basically throwing it away, which was a good decision, but also stupid. Like
Yeah.
at the time, I have to say, you have to use your feet. Like great quarterbacks would have done whatever it took at that point to get that first down. And I think we need to start coaching him in a way that, makes him a runner, pushes him to use his feet.
Well, I mean, think about it like other sports, RP. What were teams doing before there was a 3-point line? Before a guy could just go up and alley oop pass to, but then when they started doing it where the coach is like, whoa, calm that down, guys, and like that's not part of that's not part of my game plan, dunking on two guys on posterizing guys and throwing up 10 multiple 3-pointers. So I guess what I'm saying is that the game evolves, right, to a certain extent. And coaches, when they coach, they have a philosophy, or they have a theory, they have a playbook, etc. And for some of them, maybe they're just, he's looking at Mitchell Trubisky, and he's, instead of seeing that this guy can dunk, this guy, he wants him to be something that he's not, right? And
Do you think Nagy
Nagy's mind,
he wants him to be a pocket passer and be able to, read defenses from shotgun formation with no back? And
I think that's what Nagy wants for sure. I think he wants that pocket passer, that guy who reads the safeties down to the linebackers, and then reads out. Like he reads multiple, like 4 reads before you hit the check down. Guy's not afraid to push the ball down. That's what he wants. But he has a different kind of guy,
Right. And how? Obviously, you were talking about a very limited amount of guys who can do that, right? Drew Brees,
Right.
Aaron Rodgers,
Peyton Manning.
Mahomes, Peyton Manning. And you do feel like that time has passed now, that it is more about a mobile quarterback? Because even Mahomes, there's a lot of motion, and he's moving out of the pocket and uses play action quite a bit as well. Is that's also a part of Nagy's game, but he still expects Mitch to stand in that shotgun, especially almost when it seems like red zone too. Quite a bit he goes there. So
Yes,
it will be interesting to see what happens with the Saints. Now let's go there. Let's go to the Saints, and we're going out there to play this game. We're not sure on the injury report whether Roquan is going to be in the game or not. Again, Woods had a tough time in coverage. Not a bad linebacker by any means. It's just, again, our linebackers had problems with coverage all night, and hopefully that does not end up being the same thing with Drew Brees and the Saints offense. I also think that Alvin Kamara is playing. It looks like he's off
I don't know.
the COVID list.
I'm not sure how all this stuff works out with these players on COVID. And
okay, well, we're gonna figure all this out in our next segment called the Saints. What should we call it? What you gonna do
when the Saints come marching in?
Drew Brees.
When the Saints come marching in.
Sean Payton.
When the Saints come marching in.
Michael Thomas.
The Saints come marching in.
Alvin Kamara.
The Saints come marching in.
Jason
When
Hill.
the Saints come marching in.
Emmanuel Sanders.
The Saints come marching in.
Marshawn Lattimore.
The Saints come marching in.
Cameron Jordan.
The Saints come marching in.
Jared
When
Cook.
the Saints come marching in.
What you gonna do?
When the Saints come marching in.
Matt
When
Nagy.
the Saints come marching in.
Chuck Pagano.
What you gonna do? That's a good one. What you gonna do? Brought to you by Dbe Bears Essentials. The Saints. We're going to the Saints. How do we get it done, man? How do we pull off the most amazing victory this weekend?
voodoo. You got a
Voodoo's one way.
No, I mean we've seen the Bears play. We've seen the Bears win. We know what it takes. Hopefully Cordero Patterson is able to make an impact on special teams. That would be awesome. Big kick return here and there. We know what happens when the Bears play with a balanced offense, when they're running play action and getting Mitchell out of the pocket in motion, when they're hitting the tight ends. By the way, you got to hit Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
A-Rob.
where nothing in the first half, practically.
Yeah. So that dude needs to be a focal point of your offense.
Ridiculous.
Getting Mooney involved is a great thing, but you can't really do it at the expense of A-Rob. So a balanced offense. And then on defense, we know Pagano plays this bend, break, give, take type of offense. What I want to see is just a dominant defensive effort. I want to see these guys. I want to see the effort, and I want to display it in their movement, in their actions, in their aggression on the field. They don't have to make every play, but I want to see that hustle, and I want to see the chest
conviction,
bumping
the
and the
conviction and
high
belief that,
fives,
sure, that
all of
belief
that
for
stuff.
sure.
These guys need to be amped up during the Saints, and so I don't want to see hands. I don't want to see guys making tackles and then standing up themselves. I want the mob around. I want the mob as much as possible.
Yeah, swarm to the ball. That's what good defenses do. I
Yes.
would love to see a big game out of Khalil. I really want him to, at least if he's going to be a Bear for who knows how much longer. I'd like to see him play his last playoff game, or a playoff game in Chicago,
Right.
and have a great performance.
Yeah.
And this would be a good one to do good time to have one, since we were knocked out of the playoffs a couple years ago by the same team.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's definitely some bad blood. There's some history between the Bears and the Saints. I'm just hoping to add to that chapter with
speaking of
a
double
new chapter.
doinks, our barely legal play of the week.
In this week's Barely Legal Play, when the moon appears deep and blue and looks amazing, the music is just right. I'm being followed by a moon darnell, moon darnell, moon darnell. Written by Yusef Burkett Stevens.
That was definitely the weirdest one. We saved the weirdest barely legal for last, guys. Now that was a great play, and I hope Mooney can play this week, because he took a beating that game, because he touched the ball so many times, and for a guy that size taking wide receiver screens that often, like, that's, again, I wasn't a big fan of how they were utilizing him that often, and especially with short plays, putting him in traffic when you have a guy like Robinson, who it almost seemed like they were playing as if they knew they were going to have this playoff game, offensively and defensively. Here's my question to you, Doctor. Do you think they had a guy listening to the score of the Rams game and being like, yeah, Nagy, the score is LA, whatever. You know what I mean?
So they were getting some intel on what was
Yeah,
going on in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea, but the fact is they did not play like their lives depended on it, or
Yeah.
their playoff lives depended on it. And it will be interesting to see now this week, having to travel, what kind of conviction they come with, right?
I mean, that's the key to this game. Again, we talk about schemes, we talk about schematics. We've seen the Bears scheme work against some teams and be completely neutralized by other teams, in the way that impacts the Bears, their energy, and what appears to be their relentless effort seems to suffer. And so we've seen the ups and downs and that pendulum swinging throughout the course of the season, for sure.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to see the Bears swing that pendulum back to that Bears team we saw in the last 3 weeks before this Packer game, with 30 points a game. We're definitely gonna have to put some points up, I think, against Drew Brees. I want to also, when we're talking about the future, the Bears are going to Nagy's going to win or lose this game here. Let's say they don't win this game. To me, I feel like there's an incompletion there of exactly what we were looking to do, which is, one, build a team that can win in the playoffs, two, beat the Packers, and three, develop a quarterback. That never happened. So this is, again, another huge football game for this team, and I'm sure they know it. and I really hope they play like it on Sunday. I'm going to take the Bears in this game because I think they will come out with some spirit, man, and I think they want another shot at the pack, just like I do. 32-28, New Orleans Saints.
Oh man, you asking for a prediction? Is that
No,
what's
you
going
don't
on
have to
right
tell
now?
anyone anything, but you're live on this podcast, and I just said my score.
So, RP, I want the Bears to win. I root for them to win. I think that it would be great for them to play against the Packers. And what I'm really excited about is the Santos triple doink and in for the win.
Yes. Well said.
Santos triple doink and in for the win.
Yeah,
But
they've been for the win. That would be the most beautiful thing because the double doink would be infamous, and the triple doink would be famous.
Yes, indeed, and we would have the most doinks in
Playoff
notable doinks in
history.
NFL history. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's a I like that prediction. And I think, if that does come to fruition, you will see this coaching staff here again. I am MRP. This is Dr. Matismo. We are Dub Bears Essentials. If you guys like our podcast, please let us know by subscribing and or like us on Facebook as well. We like to give you all the best and quality Bears info and content you deserve as Bear fans and football fans, just like we are. We're really hoping to be here next week again. We need another W or AW to keep it going. We did get a W from the Rams. And again, I want to give a extra special, super big shout out to John Wolford for pulling out the big W.
That's right.
You're a hero in Chicago. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Any last words, Doctor?
As always, RP, thank you so much. It's great to be here. Bear Essentials, Bear Down. Let's go Bears.
Let's go Bears. We always appreciate you, Doctor. Thanks for doing this whole season. You know way too much about football. It's good. We appreciate you giving your knowledge to us and spreading it to everyone out there in the cloud.
It's so much fun,
All right.
So thank you, RP. We'll look forward to next week. Right?
Happy New Year 2021. Let's get it done. Bear down.